Lord Jamar, man. I'm so hyped to be here. I remember watching you on Oz, Supreme Allah.
Yes,
And I remember
sir.
the scene where you faced off with Adebisi, and Adebisi was like the man that season.
Right.
And it was like, I thought, yo, they gonna punk Supreme. And then like you faced off with Supreme, and Adebisi was like, you, and you were like, fuck me. I remember that because I was a big Oz fan.
And what's funny is I still have a scar on my shoulder from that scene, like when he threw me up against the wall or some shit like that. Like the walls were kind of abrasive, and there was some, there was some shit going on, but we were so into it. He was like, yo, if you want to spit in my face, whatever, like, yo, it was a great experience.
He's a great actor, that dude.
Absolutely. Shout out to Adewale.
Yeah, he's. I always wondered about that. That was an interesting show because they they portrayed the 5%ers. And were you intentional about that? Did they cast you because of that? Were you like, I'm not doing no wild shit. I'm not having sex with men. I'm not doing none of that. Did you say all that?
So the story goes quickly. Me and Dean Winters, who played O'Reilly, became friends. He would come to some hip hop events. I would come to some of his world, acting type of shit events. One day, maybe after knowing him for about a year, he asked me would I ever want to be on the show. I was like, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? So he brings me, sets up a meeting with Tom Fontana, who is the creator, writer of Oz. I go in there, and dude is talking to me like I ain't even got an audition type of shit. Like I'm gonna be on the show. We just have to figure out who you're gonna be. So he starts telling me about a Jamaican undercover cop who ended up being played by Lance Riddick. Rest in
RP.
peace, Lance Riddick. Mm-hmm. Lance Riddick. First of all, that was the first time I ever even saw who Lance Riddick was. Got introduced to him, and I now to this day I'm honored to have worked with him. But anyway,
Mobay.
So when he said Mobay, I was like, nah, I don't want to be no cop. I don't want to be no snitch or nothing like that. You know what I mean? So he's telling, these are roles that he already had in his mind. And so when, I'm kind of like turning this shit down, shooting him down. And then he's like, and then I said, so have you ever heard of the 5% Nation? And he's like, no, what's that? And I'm like, well, it's kind of like the Muslims, you know what I mean? But a little more street. And, we teach that the black man is God, and, it's pretty prevalent in the jail system, especially in New York. So he was like, let me ask you something. Now I'm sitting there with him, just me, him, and Dean Winters. So he's like, so if the black man's God, does that mean the white man's the devil? Now you hear the hush in the room right now, right? It was that kind of silence in the room for a second. Now, right now, this is one of those times where character matters. See what I'm saying? You could be scared to say the right answer because you think maybe that's going to fuck you up or whatever the case may be. I looked him in his eye and I said, yes, it does. You know what I mean? Yes, it does. So maybe a little silence for another 2 or 3 seconds, and then he says, I love it. Boom! You know what I mean? So yeah, I started telling him, you know what I mean? And I kind of already had the name Supreme in my mind, like that's a good standard, like 5% name that you would hear, especially back in the days. And I had a friend that I grew up with back in the day whose name was Supreme. So anyway, yeah. So when I told him that, he was like, oh yeah, bet. And actually, the stuff I told him as far as like describing the basic the 5% Nation. He put that word for word in the script when I walked into the jail. And he was like, who's that? He's a 5%er. Who are the 5%ers? Everything I said, he put in the script right there.
I remember the Italians in the show were talking about you, I think. Like when Pancamo and
Harold was talking about me and because he acted like he knew me from the street already. See,
Augustus.
Augustus Hill, right? I forgot.
I remember I watched this show.
I it's funny because I forget some of the show names, but I know him as Harold. So yeah, he was talking about me. I think O'Reilly a few people talked about me when I first walked in. A lot of that dialogue came from that meeting. After that, my storyline was some shit that Tom Fontana wrote. But also in that meeting, he also said, one of the first things he said, now aside from getting, he said, what wouldn't you do? And I said, you know what? I'm glad you said that because I am not comfortable with anything like that. Any kind of, you know what I mean? Homosexual activity and all of this type of shit. So he says, now you might get thrown in the hole and you would have to be naked. Would you have a problem with that? And I said, no. Not really thinking that he's going to hold me to it. But I was like, that, as long as it's not gay, I'm good with it.
No.
And sure enough, he held me to having to fight with Augustus naked.
Okay.
But,
in the shower,
it
right?
wasn't, it wasn't gay.
Yeah. Well, because it's like a realistic jail scenario.
Exactly.
Right?
Like, what the fuck you gonna do? Be like, hang on, let's put our clothes on and then fight type of shit? Like, this nigga's coming at me now. We got to handle this shit.
Were you shocked when you died? Because I remember the death was kind of funny. Like, you ate some shit. They blew
some eggs.
You look like Martin when he fought Hearns. And
Yes.
I was like, how did they do that? Did they put like makeup on you?
So first of all, every week you got to read the script to find out if you live in to be honest, I didn't think I was going to last that long. You understand what I'm saying? Because as far as rappers went,
LL Cool J was like on it briefly.
Only other rappers was on there for 2 episodes. I did 12.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Okay, that was like a season and a half. So when I saw that I was going to die in the sky, I was like, oh, come on. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, am I really dead? Like, they don't show me. so whatever the case may be, the show was wrapping up anyway. They knew that the whole thing was closing anyway. So he's like, listen, Supreme's time is done. Nothing we could do. So how we did the egg thing, I had to take a facial cast, and I still have the mask. They made a facial cast of my face. So I had to sit with a fucking straw and all this type of shit for like an hour or some shit maybe. I forget how long it was for that shit to get hard. Then they made these prosthetics, and what they did was they shot it backwards. So they put all this shit on my face to make it look like it was swollen, and then they would take it off. They would take some off to make it look less swollen. So yeah, they would shoot the process backwards and then show it to you in reverse type of shit.
How did they know the show was over? Did they just know it was the last season? They were told?
Well, he, as the writer, felt like he had nothing more. Like that was it. Like the story he wanted to tell was supposed to be a Greek tragedy, basically, or some shit like that.
It ends with a play.
Huh?
It ends with a play, like the show ends like kind of like a Greek tragedy.
Yeah, that's what Augustus's character was supposed to be, like the narrator of a Greek tragedy. That's why he'd always be in those isolated situations and shit like that. So yeah, he just felt like he ain't had no more to say as far as that show was concerned. So it was just, it ended.
Did you see Zoe?
Zoe.
You ain't see so Dean Winters, who plays O'Reilly, and Lee Turgensen, who plays Beecher.
Right.
They did a YouTube with Tom Fantano, and it's like they out in the free world.
No.
Yeah, it came out on YouTube.
When was this?
Like a year ago.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Send me the link. Put me onto this shit.
Yeah. And it's like, obviously he can't use the IP.
Right.
So he has to call it Zoe. And he's like telling B.
Oh, so it's Zoe, not I.
Exactly.
Ah.
It's like if we named the group Nan Nubian. Just like,
Right.
Like, not get
So Nan Nubian. That's funny. Wait a minute. So Beecher is out on the street?
Both of them are.
Who else?
Beecher and O'Reilly.
And O'Reilly. Wow. And I'm
still
still cool with Dean to this day.
Dean is great. Everybody on the show, like, I never thought there was anybody on the show that's like, yo, he's trash at acting. I don't know what it was.
Let me tell you something. I feel like that was probably the greatest acting school I could have went to. Because not only was like everybody was a phenomenal actor. Like when I first got there and found out that Eamon Walker was an English actor, you know what I mean? Like he was the start to me of the whole London actors taking the black role. But at that point, you know, there wasn't a lot of them doing it, and I was impressed. I was like, holy shit. When I heard him speaking on, you know, on set, I'm like, this guy's from London? I already thought he was a phenomenal actor, and I'm like, no way, this motherfucker's putting on an American accent. I said, wow. And he ended up being like my personal acting coach. Like me and him would go to lunch.
Wow.
And sit in the projects across the street, because we used to shoot at Chelsea Markets, the same place where they shoot New York 1 right now. Used to be the set for Oz. So they got those projects like right across the street. We used to go in the courtyard of the projects, eat our lunch, and he's just sitting there. He's like, yo, you a natural. He's just telling me shit. He's like, yo, I never took a fucking acting class in my life. And I'm like, word? And he played Othello and all kind of ill shit, you understand? So he's letting you know, like, if you got a certain natural ability, you don't necessarily have to take acting classes, but there are certain things that you need to know, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to be prepared and all of that type of shit. And he was very much into making sure we were prepared, like not just me, but all the black actors on the show. If he knew we was going to have a scene with all of us, he would call us into his dressing room, and we would all, you know, be 5-6 people in a little fucking room, and we going over the fucking scene. Because, you know, to be honest, it seems like they would give the white boys a little more time. You know what I mean? They would make sure the white boys got that performance that they needed. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, some of especially the sub characters, you know what I mean? Like Supreme Allah was a sub character. He wasn't you know what I mean? They tried to put me up there in a way, you know, but the main characters were the ones that been there since the beginning, pretty much. So those are the main stories that you've been following for years type of shit. And I feel like the sub characters, they, you know, get your shit and let's keep it moving. Like, you know what I mean? So Eamon used to make sure that everybody was ready, like even the extras that might be in the scene, like, you know. But yeah, I got to work with him. I got to work with Maloney. You know, like just, yeah, even Beecher and like all these dudes. Shout out to my man Mums, rest in peace, Mums. Just all these talented people that, you know, brought you in. Nobody was acting like, this dude, he's a rapper type of shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to fuck with him. Like everybody, you know what I mean? Was welcoming and just brought me in and just made me feel like family.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I take this in the way that it's not like an insult or anything. Can a job like that almost ruin your acting career because it's so great? Like, it's amazing.
Well, it can spoil you.
Yeah.
It can spoil you because, first of all, the steady paycheck. You know, to live as a rapper, man, means to live in hills and valleys. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Unless you're one of these platinum guys that's just, you know, your shit just been up. And even there, I'm sure there's hills and valleys that you experience. you know, but most people, you know, unless you're working a regular job, you know, if you're a rapper like that, you're not getting paid like every week type of shit. Like, you know what I mean? So to get a check every week or every 2 weeks, whatever the fuck it was, like I was working a job or some shit was kind of, that was different. You know what I mean? And then pulling up every day and working with the same people, you know, for like a year type of shit, you know, because each episode is like damn near 2 weeks to shoot.
Wow.
And yeah, you become close with these people. You end up partying with these people. Shit, me and Mums got locked up one time at an after party smoking weed. we was at an after party for Harold had a birthday party or some shit like that. We outside smoking weed, you know, when weed was still illegal, and got rolled up on by the D's and spent a nice night in the Tombs together.
You felt at home because of ours?
Well,
did you get into character?
It was funny because now people, once we got in there, people recognized us and all of that, and so the CEOs kind of put us in our own little.
It's
you
not
know what
funny,
I mean?
but it's funny. Yeah.
And it wasn't no punk shit. I done been through the system before without nobody, but it was just good to be. You know what I mean? She ended up going outside, get us outside food and all of that type of shit. You know what I mean? So we was kind of living like kings. As much as you could.
Yeah, I mean, Oz was really ahead of his time, just thinking about giving voice to people in jail.
Right.
Even though it was a little bit exaggerated, because I've known people in jail be like, yo, X is not like we don't.
I had dudes that just came home from doing like 14 years. It was like, bro, ain't that much in jail, bro. Like, it's like this shit, but not that much. The way they show it on Oz.
It's like everybody engaging in it. And like, it's like, yeah.
But see, here's another thing that I liked is that they would consult with me. So they would be like, would Supreme be in this shot? And I'd be like, nope. Okay. Like there was this one scene where they all, like Adebisi and his whole crew, even though I was messing with them in a way, but they all was in the room and
alliance, like a
and they was like, and there was some little funny shit going on in there.
Yeah, the gay,
and they was like would he might have had his gay man in there with him or some shit like that. Yeah, and they was like playing with each other. Some funny shit was going on, and I remember they asked me, "Would Supreme be in this shot?" And I said, "Nope, he would not be in this shot." But you know, you got motherfuckers be thirsty for camera time. You see what I'm saying? And that's another thing about old school and new school. You know, it's about structure. It's about having standards that you won't cross for any reason. Not for money, not for fame, not for nothing. You know what I mean? And so that's the difference where I feel like a lot of people in my position would have been scared to say, yes, the white man's the devil. They would have jumped in any scene that they was offered to jump into. Or they would have took any role that they were offered. Because I held out, I ended up being, the first 5%er on network TV that you've seen probably ever? Like, who else brought the gods to HBO like that? Seriously. Nobody.
It's funny because you reminded me of like when you said new school, and it's like I thought about Nas doing this song with Lil Nas X. Did you see that?
Yeah. And that was symbolic, you know? That was symbolic. They wanted him to almost symbolically pass that torch to him. They wanted, you know, official old school hip hop to almost say that it approves of this new shit. And we know Nas don't really rock with shit like that. But the new Nas is a financial guy. You know what I mean? The new Nas is about getting that bread and, you know, things that exclude him from getting that bread. He's not gonna, you know, he's fighting the battles that he feels like need to be fought. You know what I mean? I'm sure by him doing that, opened doors for him to be able to, now he got the casino coming in New York and all that type of shit. Like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because you say New Nas. I feel like there's certain people that benefit off the existence of another more extreme character. Like I think Jay-Z benefits off Diddy kind of being the extra, yo, I'm all in the videos, because I feel like he was all in the videos. But Nas also benefits off Jay-Z being the super corporate billionaire because he looks like the low-key assistant
The
coach.
still street dude, but now Nas is becoming the corporate billionaire type of dude, you know, where you hear his name pop up a little more than you're hearing Jay-Z as far as business ventures are concerned. So yeah, you're right about that. We live in a world and societies that like that type of juxtaposition. You know, the poor guy needs to look at the rich guy and shake his fist at him, and you know, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when Jay-Z was like the working man. Like, oh, there was a time where he's like, yo, it was aspirational rap. You can become rich. And now he's like, oh, you're rich. That's disgusting.
Right.
You're a billionaire. You're corny. But I mean, that makes sense. So I was looking, you know, it's funny because I think you do these interviews and you're like, oh, he's spoken so much about this thing. And like, you've already given a story about Brand Nubian, but stories change. Like, I'm not saying they change, they get updated. So I still want to talk about Brand Nubian. Yeah. So I was like, because I talked with Oskino a couple weeks back and he was talking about state property, right? And he was like, we ain't know each other. Then I wonder sometimes how rap groups get put together because it could mimic in often cases like boy bands. Not saying they're boy bands, but say, we get this guy who appeals to the Asian girls and we get this. But how did Brand Nubian get together?
Brand Nubian, you know, was more organic because we all grew up in the same city, same town, New Rochelle, New York, right? But we all didn't run with each other. Puba is, maybe 4-5 years older than me and X. Me and X are the same age, but we lived on totally different sides of town. We didn't go to the same school or no shit like that. But New Rochelle is just big enough that, you know, if you moving around, you can get known, you know, and a lot of people know each other type of shit. You know what I mean? So it's not that big. But at the same time, it's big enough to where there's people that you could have not met and not fucked with. But if you travel in hip hop circles, you're probably gonna bump into each other at some point. Puba, he was always like a known hip hop dude in New Rochelle. You know what I mean? Even before he started making records, like he had a group called Trey Bag MCs, and you know, they was some project MC niggas, and some of them was, you know, gangster. You know what I mean? Like Puba might have been the most talented one in there. They must, you know. But they was dope, you know, and they had flyers and shit like that back in the days with graffiti, and you know. So when I'm young, you might see Puba's face on a flyer type of shit. That was big. Then he had his group Master of Ceremonies with him and his cousin, Doctor Who. First they made a single called Crime, produced by Teddy Riley. Didn't do that much, but we were just happy, like, oh shit, some dudes from New Rochelle made a record. Then they came again, and now they had 2 records that popped off. One called Cracked Out, one called Sexy. Boom. Shit is popping in New York now. Latin Quarters, all that, Union Square. Boom. That's when, around that time, that's when I step into the picture with Puba. I had met him maybe a couple years before that on some DJ shit. I was a DJ. He was a DJ. He needed to borrow a turntable. Somebody I knew said, oh, this guy, you know, you might could call him. He might let you use a turntable. Boom, I let him use the turntable. Ever since then, I knew who he was. Then he seen me rhyming in the park one day, stepped to me, said he wanted to work with me. Boom. I'm like 17 at this time. So now, but he's Cracked Out Sexy at this time. So he started taking me to shows and shit like that. I was a little cool fly, you know what I mean? I always had little jewels and leathers, and, you know what I mean? Stayed fresh. I wasn't the biggest drug dealer or whatever, but you know, I stayed fresh. So, you know, he used to like that and have me around for that type of shit. Then one day he was like, yo, you know this kid Derek X and shit? I'm like, yeah. You know, I ran into this kid one time at the library on a freestyle shit. And I was like, yo, as far as somebody from Nourish, because in my mind, I was the nicest one of my age. Like, you know what I mean? None of y'all is with me. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these dudes, they wasn't going to the city. They wasn't really up on the newest slang and gear and all that type of shit. I was doing all of that. So when I seen him rhyme, he didn't even look like he could rhyme, you know, because he went to Catholic school and he might have had a tie on or some shit like that. I'm looking at him like, oh, this corny nigga, ain't no way. And then boom, he's come out with that deep ass voice. You know, he might have been 15 and sound the way he sound now. And I was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? And he had some slang and he was nice. Then later on, he ended up messing with this girl that I used to mess with. You know what I mean? So we had that in common. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I used to mess with her. And then, you know, I put her in the wind and then she started messing with him. But then, you know what I mean? Then I started messing with her. It was some bullshit or whatever. So me and him had to kind of get past that in order to even, like, form this group. But when Puba broke up and all of that type of shit, I knew in my mind that if us three was to come together, because he was trying to work with me separately and he was trying to work with S separately, that seemed kind of hard trying to get 3 deals or whatever the case may be. I was like, yo, if we come together as a group, like we probably the 3 best of Nourish. If we come together as a group, I feel like we could do some shit. You know what I mean? And I'm just thinking that in my mind. I'm not thinking, we're not even talking about Brand Nubian. This is just 3 individuals coming together. And that's a thought that I had in my mind. And I'm like, yo, let me pitch it to the big homie. You know what I mean?
Who's the big homie?
Puba.
Okay, got it.
You know what I mean? Like, and we wasn't talking like that back at that time, but I'm just to make y'all understand right now. So, yeah, so I'm walking through the mall one day. Me and Puba, and I think my other man was there, and he's like, "Yeah, man, you know this master ceremonies. You know, I don't know. You know, this shit ain't working out, and I don't know what I'm." And I'm like, "Yo, bro, what we need to do is," I pitched him the idea, and then he's just like, "You know what? That sound like some shit right there. Like, yo, bet. You know what I mean?" And then I'm like, okay, you know, but you're still not sure if it really took hold like that. But now maybe a day or 2 later, he's calling, yo, come on, we got to get on the train. We going downtown. We going, you know what I mean? We going to record companies and shit. I'm like, word? Like, okay. We got some meetings type of shit. And that's kind of how it started. Like, you know, then we went to Tommy Boy. Dante Ross was there. He was already open on Puba from Cracked Out and Sexy and all that Master Ceremony shit. Because they actually put an album out after that, too. They had a joint called Dynamite that was popping on there. I think the name of the album was Dynamite, actually. And it was a solid album, but it was, you know, it was underrated. It wasn't promoted. It was on it wasn't on the right label. It wasn't the good conditions.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's fire. I think what's interesting is what you told me about how things move so fast, right? Like you 17 years old, which is not the right age to like even understand the business.
Well, hold up.
Is it?
Hold up. I said I met Puba at 17.
Okay.
This is now over a course of years. By the time we get to this Brand Nubian shit, I'm like 21.
It's young.
I know it's still young, but it's not like I met him at 17 and then this all happened at 17. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so now, look, 17, 18, 19, 20, fucking at the verge of 21. But that's 4 to 5 years of also having to have faith.
Yeah.
People telling you, man, you're not gonna make a record. Yo, you know that dude Puba's gonna steal your stuff, right? And you know what I mean? Like all this kind of bullshit, and you got to hear all this type of shit. And I'm telling people this whole time that I'm gonna make a fucking record. Get the fuck out of here. No, you're not. All right, watch.
Okay. So that's fire. I mean, I think it's interesting that you kind of talk about this time. I mean, I think one of the criticisms of why there's no like real music nowadays, like groups, is that you have to split everything.
Yes.
It's easier to be
solo.
And it may seem like someone's being arrogant, like I'm better than the group. It's like, no, sometimes I just think I want all the money. And I think about that with podcasts today. Like there's times when I was starting a podcast with somebody and I was like, I don't know what value you bring that is necessarily going to help me.
Right.
And it's hard to kind of think about that value because you all got different fan bases that are telling you different messages. Like, you are the reason that this ship is rolling. And they may be right, but it's like the sum is greater than its parts, right? Like Tim Duncan needs Manu and Manu needs Tim Duncan. And it's like, so how was it navigating kind of that so fast? Because I would guess the perception was that Grand Puba was the guy at the time.
Right. Well,
to everybody outside of maybe New Rochelle.
Yes. Like, yeah, Puba was the leader. He was the spearhead, you know. Even though we felt like we was a group, and the way we signed was equal. You know what I mean? We split it up 3 ways equally, so it wasn't like Puba had a bigger percentage than anybody else on paper, you know? So in my mind, we're all equals. You see what I'm saying? But in the perception of certain people in the public, they felt like, nah, Puba is the man, he's the leader. And then I feel like they started to instill that in his mind, you see what I'm saying? And make him feel like, yeah, I am the leader. Like, you know what I mean? And maybe I do deserve a little more. Like, you know what I mean? Which would have been fine if you would have said that from the very beginning. You see what I'm saying? But once you have me thinking that we all equals, you know what I mean? Now it's that train has already moved out type of shit. So you know, you can't now demote me. You know what I mean? Like,
there was a conversation had like, I don't want to do 33, 33, 33 anymore. I want to do 70, 15, 15. Like, was it any type of comment like that? Okay.
No, there was no conversation like that. But it just started to be shit where, you know what I mean? Puba would come to the studio and just get all the petty cash before niggas got there and then leave and then not even be there for the session. But he just bagged them for like $200-$300 or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like,
adjusted for inflation, that's still not a lot of money. That's funny.
You know, I mean, back in '89, $300-$400 a day type of shit is not bad money. Like, you know.
Yeah, I was watching the Drink Champs interview, and y'all was talking about how like Grand Puba used to be on some extortion shit. Like he would call labels and be like, yo, I'm going to get money today. And then he would call, they would be like, I need some money.
I need money today.
Yeah.
You see, you got to say it like, today. Like, you got to say it with that
emphasis.
Like, I need money today. Like, yo, I'm about to get evicted. I need this money today. If I don't get this money, you know what I mean? So we was like, oh, that's how you get money. So then we started doing dumb shit like that. You know what I mean? Yo, I need this money today. You know, like, and it would work sometimes. You know what I mean? It would work. But, you know, in the long run, that wasn't a good example of how to do business. Like, you know,
could you think that's why like negative stories about y'all persist? Like, because there's rumors that y'all was extorted. Like that's what I heard on the YouTube streets. Like y'all was like serious about stuff and y'all wasn't letting nothing slide. Do you feel like that was proper, or do you think y'all should have been advocating for more than money? Like, I need points on the album, or I need a certain type of IP ownership was? Do you feel like he was fighting the right battles?
Listen, we were fighting the right battles for the knowledge that we had at the time. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody know about no IP or anything back then. I don't even think that term existed. Intellectual property. You know, it was all about, yes, points and royalties and shit like that. But no, we was just young and just on some shit. Like, you know what I mean? But I think some of the negative shit that follows us is, you know, Puba used to really like he'd have some big shit set up and then like just not show up type of shit. You know what I mean? Like, and he would do it with Brand Nubian, and then he ended up doing it in his own solo career. Like, we thought it was just at some point where he was just protesting against us. But then when we saw he would do it in his own solo career, it was just kind of like, oh, well, this is just, you know, I guess just that's how he moved. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, one thing is like, was there's one thing I always wanted to ask, because there's a theory that Puba's style was taken by somebody. Do you know who that person was?
His style?
Like his way of being. People say Diddy took it. Was that true?
Well, Diddy did try to take a lot of the sauce from Puba. So Mary J. Blige is actually, she's like a prettier version of this girl called Asia that Puba had, right? Puba had this girl, like he was probably the first one to try to do some hip hop singing shit with a girl. So, and he was trying to shop her stuff, but see, Asia was a little younger. She was very dark skinned. She wasn't, and not that dark is ugly, but she just wasn't what you would call traditionally pretty. Like, you know what I mean? She didn't look,
at the time.
Right, at the time. Yeah. She didn't look commercially what somebody would think of as a commercial success, visual-wise. But she could sing great, and the shit that Puba was recording with her and writing for her was dope. It was cutting edge. It was, nobody was really doing that type of shit. And so, yeah, when he was shopping and shit, Puffy was at MCA at the time, and Puffy was gonna fuck with it, but then he started doing it. You know what I mean? He did some shit with Mary that was very suspiciously like that, and then in order to make Puba not really like, yo, you still, you know what I mean? He pulled him in, gave him some bread and all of that to do the 411 and all that type of shit. And I think Puba had already by this time stopped messing with the girl Asia, because I think she still bugged out or something. But he definitely did try to steal like that shit right there. And so now, if you notice, like Puff would do, especially with Mary a lot, he would like take beats that, like the Sunshine beat, for instance. You know what I mean? And now Mary is on that. Like, you know what I mean? It seems like he would look to Puba, yes, for certain things, especially musically, and then kind of remix it and make it his own. Definitely.
How do you kind of deal with, because it's different. I know you said Action Bronson sounds like Ghost, but how do you deal with when that stealing comes from within the culture? Like people that look like you stealing your shit. How is that kind of relegated? How is that controlled? Does it matter?
Well, see, here's the thing. You brought me in and we did the debate. I don't know when it's going to be out or whatever. But
yeah, for those of you that don't know, Lord Jamar did a 5v1 debate.
6v1.
6v1. And he was the representative of old school. That's what he's referencing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like I'm saying, this is the difference between the old school and the new school. Wait, what did you just say? What was the difference?
So like, obviously, like, let's say a white rapper.
Oh, okay. What's the difference between taking it?
Like,
okay. Now I remember what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
It's about standards. You see, in our day, we say no biting. No biting. So that means you can't copy somebody's style. You know how many motherfuckers just wanted to, once they heard Rakim, just sound like Rakim? Oh, that's a perfect voice to emulate. No, once you heard it, you're like, damn, I wish I would have thought of that.
But there was biting Lord Jamar.
Yes, and they weren't doing well.
Dana Dane, he bit
Hang
Slick.
on. Dana Dane was in the same group as Slick Rick,
That's
right?
biting though, right?
Well, if
you're not from England.
Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on.
Salute. Yeah.
I agree. Listen, but hang on. That's why I liked Slick Rick better. But why Dana Dane was able to get over with it was because since they were in the same group, it's believed that that was a style that they had within their group. Whereas they talked about it amongst each other and they said, okay, this is how we are going to rap. Even though Rick is actually from England, we in this Kango crew are going to rap. That's going to be our little gimmick. We're going to rhyme with an English accent. Although Rick might be the one that inspired us to do that, right? So, but to me, I felt like, yes, Dana Dane, you're not from England. So that was kind of corny to me. And I love Dana Dane as a person. You know what I mean? I loved some of his records, you know, Delancey Street, Nightmares, all of that type of shit. But it couldn't, it paled in comparison to what Slick Rick was doing because you knew that Slick Rick was the originator. Like it felt more, you know, that felt diluted. What Dana Dane was doing felt diluted compared to what the real shit was. So back to what you're saying, like when somebody tries to steal from within the culture, when the culture has certain standards as a safeguard, those things aren't allowed to flourish. It's only when you take away the standards and be like, oh, biting doesn't matter. Like sounding like the next guy, that's okay. Like, and that's where we are now. That many of the safeguards and the standards have been taken away because there is no term like no biting. That was a main term, and you're a sucker MC if you want to bite. Nobody wanted to be a sucker MC. Now they're all sucker MCs.
That term ain't even used no more. Sucker MCs.
Why not? And that's what I said also in the debate. Terms like sellout have been taken out the lexicon because they don't want you to be, because most people are sellouts and they don't want you to be able to identify the bullshit that you're doing.
I just wonder because it's like, then it's like theoretical, like a capitalist society, how can you ever really maintain cultural standards? Because corporations ultimately, like you said with Oz, like they asked you if you would be around Adebisi when he has like these, you know, these gay dudes. A lot of people that said yes because I want the money. I want more screen time. But when I can throw more money at you, I can put you in videos and all this stuff. Most people will fold, especially with the money that's in hip hop now.
Well, here's the thing: a lot of people don't even have the luxury of being asked. You see, some people, you know, once you buy into the shit, once you're on the set, hey, get up in that scene right there, whether you think you should be in it or not. You see what I'm saying? Like, at least they in that situation, they allowed me to fall back on my standards and my morals. But many people don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
Your morals and standards mean nothing when it comes to certain corporate or capitalistic values. But this is not just something on capitalism. You see what I'm saying? This could happen in a socialist society or communist society. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's not about capitalism per se. It's about
standards.
It all goes back to standards and what you stand for.
All right. So I want to wrap up this Brand Nubian thing before I move on to the next one. I was watching an AI video. It was made by AI, and it was like there was like a civil war. Was there ever really a civil war between y'all?
No.
That's why it seemed like BS to me. I thought,
Yeah, they had some shit where they act. Is that the one where I had a kitchen knife and one guy had a gun? And
Yeah, somebody was like,
that was hilarious. Whoever made that up, like, that was total clickbait. Like, there was nothing like that going on.
yeah, it was funny. All right, cool. So now now that we off the Brand Nubian stuff, I want to revisit some of your takes about, like, because I don't think you talk about pop culture as much like now in your interviews. Like, so I want to ask about the last two Super Bowls. So let's talk about the first one, because I think Jay-Z has control of the Super Bowl. People say he doesn't. That he just, there's a board that controls him.
Right, it's Jay-Z.
Yeah. So the first one was the Kendrick Super Bowl.
Right.
Many felt like he was standing on business, not capitulating to corporate needs, right? He didn't perform any of the songs from his previous catalog, only did GNX. What were your thoughts about that Super Bowl?
I thought it was weird. See, I didn't know what kind of statement he thought he was making and all of this type of shit. I felt like it was too much surrounded around Drake. I feel like if you do the Super Bowl, that's when it's supposed to be a celebration of you and all the shit that got you there. And you're supposed to do your hits, not just your latest whatever the fuck you got going on type of shit. And that's what that seemed like to me. The A minor chain and just all the little shenanigans he was going on. Now, you say that he was not going to fold to corporate by not doing it. I mean, to me, that was a stupid hill to die on, because at the end of the day, it's about your fans. Like, your fans wanted to see you do those songs too. They didn't want to just see, Serena Williams come out and crip walk, oh shit, he brought out Drake's. Who gives a fuck? Like, I want to hear the shit that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you're known for. Because, first of all, I'm not the biggest Kendrick Lamar fan either. Like, he's dope. But I feel like, if he came out in my era, he'd have just been Kendrick Lamar. He wouldn't have been like top 3 rappers in the world type of shit. Like, but,
Do you think his legacy is too anchored in Drake now after the battle? Like, it's like there'll always be linked like Magic and Bird or something?
Well, not necessarily. You know why? Because we live in a society that's very forgetful. 2 weeks after something, that lasted longer than 2 weeks. But usually it's a 2-week time span of some shit to be hot before it cools down and people even forget that the shit happened. So I don't know if we're living in a time, anymore like a Magic and Bird where things are inextricably linked. I think not just from the battle, but Drake, Kendrick, and Cole are linked right now, whether they like it or not, just because they're known as the top rappers. Like they are the big 3. Like, you know what I mean? And that's sad because there's not much out there under them.
Yeah, it does feel like top heavy.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, there'll be a great rapper and he'd be like 15th on the list back in the day. And it'd be like Redman is one of like the
right. That's what I'm saying. Like Kendrick, he could have been a dope rapper back then, but he wouldn't have been like number 1. There'd have been so many other people before him. You know why? Because also what mattered in my day, that matters a little less, that matters much less now, is the type of person that you were. You see? Like, you could rap your ass off, but if you didn't have that certain charisma, it's not happening for you, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, It's just not happening for you. Common, he used to rap his ass off, but he wasn't as charismatic as some of these other rappers out here. And I think in his rap career that made him peak at a certain place. You know what I mean? Whereas you have rappers with less talent, you know, and this is something that's been going into the new, where now they're doing the opposite. So now it's less talent, more charisma. In my day, you needed a better balance. You see what I'm saying? It couldn't be all charisma. Couldn't be all talent either, though. You know what I mean? You needed a nice balance of both in order to fly in my generation.
Do you think Kendrick's a revolutionary?
In what sense?
Well, he raps about social issues, you know.
Like what?
I can't even really, I have to Google it.
You see what
I'm not a
saying?
Kendrick fan. What Kendrick, so what is social is, I'm not the biggest Kendrick fan, I gotta be honest. But he, you know, We Gonna Be All Right was like the anthem of the Black Lives Matter movement.
And that's a bullshit movement. So
Okay.
who the fuck cares?
He raps about systemic racism. This is AI. Generational trauma. And at the Grammys, I just popped in my Grammys. He did like, he was like in a chain gang. He was rapping on stage at the Grammys, and it was like a really symbolic, you know, he raps about gang violence and all that stuff, you know.
Okay. So, I mean, revolutionary means to change. When you know, a revolution, as we were taught in the 60s and all of that, was to inspire positive change. The revolution will not be televised because the real revolution is in the mind, and you know, you can't get inside the mind in order to televise it. So my question would be, what is he doing that is revolutionary? What is he doing that is changing anything? People have rapped about systemic racism and gang violence, and everything that you said has been done prior to Kendrick Lamar. So what is it that he specifically is doing that is revolutionary, that we haven't necessarily seen before?
I think for being like, because he's he's also very successful pop-wise. For him to reach those heights as a pop artist and
revolutionary.
And a legitimate rapper. I'm not just trying to say he's a pop artist.
Right.
And also be on par. Obviously, Drake sells way more than him. But in contrast to the other big three, he does go there, which is, in some ways, revolutionary.
Okay. Thank you for the answer. That's what I'm saying. Because sometimes when you ask a question, it's not like I'm saying it's impossible. I really want to know sometimes. Like, so I'm saying, when I say, what is he doing as revolutionary? That's one thing that you could say. I look at it and I could say, okay, yeah, I could agree with that. I could agree with that. But how impactful is just that?
No.
You see what I'm saying? Like, because you have people that have revolutionized a whole genre. You see what I'm saying? Like, even though, well, see, I can't say that because it's still young. There might be a whole next generation of people that come up and rhyme like Kendrick because he revolutionized that style of rhyming. You see what I'm saying? So I was gonna say there's rappers out there that revolutionized certain aspects of hip hop to make people want to carry that forward. There's certain people who revolutionized, you know, production styles and all kind of shit. Okay. So yeah, but it's just that today's revolutionary is much different than the revolutionary that we were talking about when Gil Scott-Heron made that record.
Okay, now we have another Super Bowl performance that they say was revolutionary. Bad Bunny, Bonito Bowl as they call it. There was a message there too, right? The plight.
Yeah, we just couldn't understand it because it wasn't in English.
So you it
Yeah,
had
this is when you look like because we couldn't understand it because it wasn't in English.
Oh, you're looking at the camera.
Yeah, I'm looking in the camera.
That's gonna be the clip. So very back-to-back messages. Jay-Z is giving the Super Bowl. He is platforming the popular artists that are corporate in some sense. And
let me just say, also, the messages, Kendrick, and even with the Bad Bunny, very Democratic Party. Very, when you talk about systemic racism and this and that, and these are things that are pushed by the Democratic Party. Now we know that they were very upset with ICE and all of that type of shit this year, the Democratic Party especially. So it seemed like, the Bad Bunny was some sort of like protest against Trump and ICE and, all of that type of shit. So I'm seeing the slight political undertones that they're trying to bring to these last two Super Bowls, which I think is it's not the word unacceptable, but I don't think it's appropriate necessarily at the Super Bowl, which is supposed to be just an all-American family event. I don't think your political leanings should be, thrust down people's throats.
I would say I agree until NFL owners became commentary on political issues when they thrust themselves into the Kaepernick situation. Because it felt as if NFL owners were taking stances. And I remember the flyest thing that ever happened with the NFL is when the quarterbacks of the NFL said, we taking a stance. And they did it on their own. It was not sanctioned. Nike didn't own it. They were just like, it was Pat Mahomes and all these other dudes. And the NFL was like, oh, we got to do something if these guys are mad. But I will say the NFL has always seemed to take stances against the expression of blackness, against the expression of, things in the culture. So that's why you have these type of things now taking place, if that makes sense to you. And it is a big deal for an American institution to have to acknowledge that this exists, because you can't just have a league with a lot of black players and then act like these things don't matter.
Well, you're starting with the Black Lives Matter, you saying?
No, I'm just saying you can't have Taylor Swift perform every year, or you can't have Roger Goodell.
Well, it's not about Taylor Swift, but I think, the Super Bowl is inherently American. Yeah?
Yeah.
So to have a Spanish-speaking artist, even though, he's technically from America.
First number one Spanish speaker to be number one on Billboard.
Right. But my thing is, so what? So what that he's number one on Billboard? That doesn't mean that most of us in America are still familiar with his music.
Got it.
You see what I'm saying? And most people weren't familiar with his music like that. I still don't understand, other than the political, aspect of it. I mean, that's why he was chosen, if you ask me. Yeah, he sells tickets and he had the successful. My brother took his family. First of all, I just want to say I have nothing against Spanish people, Puerto Rican. My niece and nephew are half Puerto Rican. Shout out to my sister-in-law. Love you, Shirley. I have Puerto Rican people in my family. That's not the point.
Okay.
The point is, I don't feel like something as American as the Super Bowl should have been a exclusively Spanish-speaking artist. If he did some in American and some in Spanish, cool. That's cool. You know what I mean? But it was almost like, fuck you. If you don't know Spanish, fuck you. We don't give a fuck about you. We got a point we trying to prove here. Fuck ICE. And you know what I mean? Like we all was being punished for what you felt ICE was doing to people. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, if you're not here legally, motherfucker, you got to go. Sorry.
That's all. Okay.
You got to go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We might revisit that later, but I
Yeah,
gotta ask.
We can.
I gotta ask about because I think it's interesting because you were one of the biggest draws to Vlad in the early days, and there's been like big issues happening with Vlad.
Mm-hmm.
Boosie, Aries, Jamar, but not you having issues, but like, what did you think about that whole Boosie wanting more money, Aries wanting more money, paying for interviews? Because I mean, I do think this is much like it's an overcorrection, right? Because in the old days, people used to do interviews for free. Them joints would get like 1 million views, and nobody was getting paid except the platform. And now artists or just regular commenters are like, nah, I need to get paid. What are your thoughts?
Well, as far as that whole Vlad, Bootsy, and Aries Spears and all of that, you know, that was just a chain of pocket watching, you know? And I think that the one that is to be blamed is my man Vlad. Because I know Vlad, right? And there's a certain part of him that I think his ego wanted to let people know how much he paid Tekashi 6ix9ine. Since he never probably paid that much for an interview prior to that, he kind of wanted it to be known how much he paid. And that was his downfall right there. Because now once Boosie heard that, Boosie's like, wait a minute. I'm on here way more than Tekashi. Tekashi's a snitch. I'm a real nigga. I should get paid more. You see what I'm saying? So now he's pocket watching. Now Boosie's pocket watching Tekashi, but he wouldn't have known to pocket watch him if Vlad wouldn't have said nothing. Okay? You could say that you paid people, but you ain't got to tell exactly how much you paid. You see what I'm saying? Once you start doing that, once people say, oh, this ain't no favored nation shit, like people's getting different pay scales and all of that type of shit, that's when the pocket watching starts coming. And there's different levels of pocket watching, even when people have bread. You know what I mean? So. Boosie's watching Tekashi. Then, once Boosie stepped off, and then, hang on, he said he got 25,000. Now Aries Spears hears that. Wait a minute. Boosie been getting 25? And I only been getting 4? But I do more than... But then people in the comments tell me... Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it gets all crazy. And I think this whole shit could have been avoided if Vlad just didn't tell the numbers.
Yeah. Did you ever think like, man, I should have got paid? Did you ever pocket watch? A lot of people pocket watch.
Of course, you know, back in the people's like, yo, you know what I mean? Yo, your shit get wild views. Like, yo, you should have got paid and this and listen. At the time, you know what I mean? It was what it was. Like, you know what I mean? I did come at him in some of the earlier shits. Like, yo, you keep calling me back. Like, yo, what's up with some bread? And he's like, oh, I don't pay for interviews and shit like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that was the time when nobody was paying. And he was like, listen, you know, and I'm gonna keep it real. He was like, listen, you know, if you don't want to do them no more, I understand. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is where you have to like weigh your shit. He's like, well, do I say fuck this and just make it all about money? Or is there value to what I'm doing? Is what I'm doing revolutionary? You see what I'm saying? Because who the fuck do you know coming on the internet that's really drop jewels, that really like gives you some shit that you can use in your life in a positive way, as opposed to, you know, teaching you how to stand on milk crates or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, so I felt like what I was doing was valuable. And also, you know, visibility brings you to the bag. You know what I mean? Like out of sight, out of mind type of shit.
It's funny because Adam 22 and Vlad did a sit down, and they were talking about, Adam was saying that Dame Dash one time wanted $500. This was back in the day, to do like to get an Uber or you know, eat or something. And Adam was like, I don't do that. To him at the time, it's like $500 is a steal now. You get Dame for $500, you like going to
Happy like
Applebee's.
exactly.
Yeah, you like, because you're making at least $3,000 off them, or maybe more.
But see, not to cut you off, but see, as somebody who has fucked with the YouTube shit and understands kind of the metrics and all of that type of shit, you know, it's not easy to make this money. And I've had people who ask me for money and all that type of shit to come on my show and all this type of shit. And it's like, listen, you know, I don't know who the fuck you think I am, but you know,
the look.
You know, I mean, the most I've ever paid is. Matter of fact, I'm not even gonna say.
Okay,
but it hasn't been that much.
Lord Vlad. Like, oh yeah,
it hasn't been that much. But I've paid a couple times. You know what I mean?
It's worth it.
Yeah, depending on who it is, it could be worth it. But again, yes, shh, stop telling motherfuckers what you paying.
All right, cool. So yeah, that Vlad situation, I don't know what's gonna happen. I think, like you said, it's not an insult because you said Vlad has ego. I don't think it's you were insulted.
Everybody has
that's
ego.
What exactly. And I think you need ego to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
It motivates you when nobody believes in you. So I get what you mean by that, but we'll see what happens. Now I wanted to get to this because I was watching Drink Champs, and I saw somebody there, and I was shocked. You know who I'm talking about?
Who? Stove Guy?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's other Stove Guys in the news about a certain situation. You were his, I'm not making this up, you said you were his mentor, kind of person bringing him up in the game.
Yeah, originally.
Originally. And now he seems to be saying he's in a really bad deal. And then I was like, now my researcher brain got activated. Because I was like, is Lord Jamar signed to the same label, or is Brand Nubian signed to the same label that he signed to? And I was like, oh my God, he is, right?
No.
You're not?
No.
Brand
Not
Nubian stuff is on Baby Grand.
We did some stuff, but those are just one-off stuffs.
Okay.
And yeah, we're not signed to Baby Grand.
How did you play a part in him ending up on Baby Grand?
Yes, I did. Listen, man, I didn't even really, you know, trying to get too public with this. I have knowledge of the deal. He's not in a bad deal. I mean, he's portraying it like that. No, he even said he's not in a bad deal. He said he's in a deal he don't want to be in. See, he just decided at some point that he didn't want to fuck with me. He didn't want to fuck with Chuck from Baby Grand. So he just got on some boycott shit. He could have been out of this deal if he would have just delivered his projects. But he took the money, took the advance, and didn't deliver.
Well, it's easy to make a label seem like the bad guy.
Of course it is.
So it's like the same.
And they don't rap, and labels don't rap, and labels don't do interviews like that. So all you're gonna see is his side right now.
Okay.
And when he's talking about my management and all this, see, it's like I ain't want to really, you know what I mean? But when he said that, he was talking about me. My management signed me to that deal. As if I signed him to a bad deal. Like, this dude didn't make $1 in rap before he met me. I opened the doors for him with Busta Rhymes and Rock Marcy and, helped him to change his name because he had a horrible name before.
Aaron Cooks?
No, well, that's what it was changed to. Before, his name was A-Train.
Was your name J-Train at one point?
His name was A-Train, and I changed his name to Aaron Cooks because his first name is Aaron, and then the Cooks was because, he cook up.
Really talented.
Then, yes, now I can't take that away from him. I know my shit. I'm an A&R extraordinaire. If Lord Jamar says you dope, I don't care what it is. If I say you a dope podcaster, if I say you're a dope comedian, rapper, producer, I am a identifier of talent. I know it when I see it, and I'm able to identify it when it's not so polished either. And I've done this multiple times in my life. So, yes, he's talented as fuck. It's just I put a lot of time into him, and he ended up shafting me in the end. You know what I mean? Like, he got the deal, he got his fucking advance, and then didn't break me my shit. He decided in his mind that me and Chuck must have some sort of thing going on together because I had a previous relationship with Chuck when all I tried to do was bring him to somebody that I knew had bread and a platform, a system, an outlet to really get his shit out there the way it needed to be. So I thought, I was doing something positive for the brother. And, after 5 years of running with me and staying at my crib and eating food in my crib and, you know what I mean? Borrowing my car, all kind of shit, and treating him like a, you know what I mean? Like a little brother. It's like, and that's another thing, old school, new school. These new school dudes have no loyalty.
It's funny because I think because of maybe your commentary socially, nobody's gonna believe you. Like nobody's gonna. People will be like, "Oh, you just hating on him? He's a new artist." But it's gonna be. I definitely did see the way you talked about him in those pods, and it was like that was your man's, and y'all did content together.
Look at I got him doing freestyles on Vlad TV.
Okay.
He got freestyles on there. He got freestyles on my show with Rod Digger and all this type of shit. Like I was doing everything in my power to bring light to this kid and let people know who the fuck he was.
I called some people just to ask about this, and one thing do you know what Even is?
Even?
It's like a Patreon for labels, or for artists.
Okay.
You put your music up there, and then you're able to release music direct to consumer.
Right.
Apparently, allegedly,
he tried that.
He did
and
that.
it got taken down.
Because you can't do that when it's signed to a label.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But see, you can't.
And apparently, Chuck, he has signed a lot of artists, and he was like, "God, no, that's not how music business works." And that led to an issue. And
he had an album coming out with Swiss Beats that got taken down.
But could you see how to the consumer that feels like somebody's hating? Like, why can't the label just be, all right, we'll just take our portion after? Because I think sometimes labels do that. All right, where you going to eat, but we're going to come for our money eventually.
Because I believe it feels like a situation where Chuck would be down to do, like, Chuck has got money from the features that he's done with Westside Gunn and all of that. But for I don't know what it is, but for some reason I feel like Cooks, I don't know what Chuck said or did. I feel like he just don't want Chuck to get paid off of anything he does, period. That's it. Like, I don't think I think Chuck would be like, sure, if you give me my cut, y'all could put that out. But I think on the other side, he's like, nah, fuck that. I don't want him to get nothing. And then Chuck is like, well, then fuck that. It's not coming out. Because trust me, Chuck is a businessman. He's not unreasonable. And he's just he got enough money to sit on this shit. That's what he don't understand. Like, Chuck could just sit on this shit for indefinitely. And you can just...
Like he was on the board of Rolling Stone or some shit. I was like, damn.
Bro, at the end of the day, the fans are not going to wait for you forever. And you got to understand that. I'm surprised they've been waiting this long, but it's because he's been giving them little stuff. He's been doing little, features and shit like that. Good. You know what I mean? Shout out to West Side Gun and all of that. When he got on the Clips album, boom, that made you Grammy nominated and all that type of shit. But that keeps your shit out there. But Reasonable Drought, what was that, 5-6 years ago?
Fire. Yeah.
But you're not going to be able to live off of that forever.
Well, I hope somebody blinks and the music comes out because this is his prime years. And, I think maybe Chuck and Stove Guy would look back with regret. But I don't know. Chuck got so much shit going on that maybe it won't matter. But, yeah, it sucks to see y'all fall out that way because I did definitely do all of the new school shit. I looked who followed who. I was like, Lord Jamar follows Chuck, but doesn't follow Stove, and Stove doesn't follow him. So I definitely did that. But...
Well, see, what's crazy is one day, fucking, man, Stove erased his whole fucking Instagram and made it just look like it all started from Reasonable Drought. And I'm just like, wow. And then he had unfollowed everybody except for like 2 people or some shit. It was like West Side Gun and I don't know, somebody else type of shit. And I was like, oh, see, this that new school shit right here. You know what I mean? This that new school shit right here.
Damn.
And I was like, it's all good because at the end of the day, I believe in karma. What you put out, you get back. And I know that my dealings with him was nothing but honorable, with an open heart, with just wanting to see the best for the young. And I still want to see the best for him. But, I'm not happy with how shit went down. But I'm still not going to, be like, fuck him, even though he said in that interview something about fuck my management or some shit or it's fuck you too or some shit. I'm like, oh, what? So you meant fuck me? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
got it. Well,
he's not a tough guy. So it's like, please don't even talk like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, just do right. You know what I mean? Like, if he would have just paid me what he was supposed to pay me and just give Chuck them albums, he could have been on to so many bigger and better things. But, trying to die on this hill. All right, go ahead.
Hey, man, free Stove.
Free Stove.
That's what they go hashtag. All right, cool. Now, just a couple segments left. Radio.
Suckers never play me.
That's funny. That's because that's a perfect thing. So I saw Ebro, Laura Rosenberg, and I want to be clear. I actually ended up liking their show once they came to YouTube, but when they got fired from Hot 97, people were happy.
Mm-hmm.
You saw dudes like Pete Rock, Saigon, and even Nori wasn't necessarily dissing them, but he said he went to Hot 97. He was happy people from New York were on the air. So was the biggest criticism was that Ebro did not play New York hip hop.
They say Ebro was instrumental in changing the sound of New York radio.
Mm-hmm. Do you agree?
I'd say so, yeah. At the time when he was in power, a lot of that Atlanta sound and all this other type of shit really started to take control of New York radio. It's like radio used to sound very regional. You go to, especially somebody that travels, you go to one part of the country, another part, you see how New York radio sound like this, and you know what I mean? Down south radio sound like that. Cali's, but dudes like this, once he came in, he really started making it harder for New York artists to get play in their own region.
I saw on his show he said that they had Arbitron or Nielsen or whatever.
I don't give a fuck about that. They'll always have some sort of bullshit answer of why. Oh, well, we were just going by the demographics and the numbers said that,
That's what he said.
And see, of course. And numbers do lie. See, that's the thing. Numbers never lie. Jay-Z, you're wrong. Numbers do lie. You can lie with statistics and all kind of shit all the time. You could fudge numbers. You can make up mathematical calculations to justify any fucking bullshit. That doesn't mean it's real. And so what if you were using Nielsen to show what's popular in other markets? This is where, independent and corporate, or this is where standards again come into play. You know what I mean? Even if something is crazy in one, it got so many spins in this market, so what? It doesn't fit in this market per se, even though it's doing great over there. And I mean, I guess we could force them to like it over here, but does it really truly organically fit here? And the corporate doesn't care what organically fits or not. They don't care if you'll fucking have some sort of rash afterwards. You see what I'm saying? As long as they get their bread and do what the fuck needs to be done. They don't care about the aftermath.
Yeah.
And people like Ebro didn't care about the aftermath. And we just feel like had he been from our area and understood more about New York hip hop and about the standards of New York hip hop, because at the end of the day, this is where the standards of hip hop period started from. So if we could have somebody up there like that, yeah, they doing the corporate thing, but they still understand certain lines you don't cross. There's still a certain balance that we need to have. I think we could have been a little better off.
I think also one thing that happened is Power came, and that was iHeart, and that's like a conglomerate. So I could really picture them, and I'm not saying that to give them any leeway. I think they lost themselves in competing with Power, and were very competitive, and were mad if you showed up to Power and sat down with Power. They wouldn't play your shaking your head. Is that really what happened?
Well, that's what I was hearing. By that time, I'm not even in that
like 2004 or 5.
Right. So I'm not, we're not making contemporary records at that point where that would make a difference for us. Yeah. But I was hearing about shit like that where they would be mad if somebody goes here and there. Here's the thing. I was happy when they left because I feel like a lot of these radio personalities have been on the air way too long. A lot, and so it's not just them that I wanted to see leave. There's people that are still on the radio right now that need to get the fuck out of here. And I'm sorry, and there's nothing personal against you, but how could you live, you were on the radio in the 90s and the 2000s. You was there for all the great when Rockefeller and all that was coming up to Hot 97 and doing freestyles and Dipset and all this type of shit. And now you're forced to play the Migos and Lil Nas X and act like you like it? Mm-hmm. Like, no way. Like you're up there strictly for the check and it reeks of it. Like how are you even enjoying yourself playing this new music? Like knowing where you come from. And I'm talking about the Funkmaster Flexes. I'm talking about the Angie Martinez's. I'm talking about a bunch of people that's been here for too long. And I'm not saying that y'all need to not have a career and all that type of shit. Y'all need to go to an age-appropriate radio station. We now have 97.1 and all of that type of shit. Or 94.7, I'm sorry, The Block.
Fire.
Fire!
I listen to that.
That's the only radio station I listen to on terrestrial radio if I'm not listening to Sirius. So what I'm saying is those type of DJs need to be on a station like on that station or a new station like that. You see what I'm saying? We need another one because we could have another 94.7 The Block that would do just fine in this area as well. I think there's enough of us that would fuck with that.
Yeah.
But for you to be on this young boys, on these young people, contemporary hip hop, when you're playing Tekashi 6ix9ine, you're playing Tyler the Creator, and you're trying to fake act like you like it. That's what's pissing me off. Where you're acting like you're really up on it. Oh yeah, I love his new album. Like, if you don't shut your dumb ass up, you know you don't love that shit. You fucking saying that shit because you need to keep your fucking job, and I hear you. But time's up.
Got it.
Time's up. Go do some other shit and talk about the type of hip hop that you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, catch Ebro on YouTube. That's where they have their show now.
Right, and it probably is much better. Listen,
Yeah,
I've had Rosenberg on my show. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's a good guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's a good guy. And I've told him to his face what I thought about him and all this type of shit. But it's nothing personal. You see what I'm saying? It's nothing personal with me. When I say certain shit, when I give my critique about certain shit and certain people, it's never with any real malice or hatred. It's just, it is what it is. I'm just giving my observation.
But it hurts because you're a rapper from a great group.
Right.
So it's different when you say it. I see this with Joe Budden, where it's like, oh, you were like a well-known lyricist. So the way I take it is like when NBA players, when somebody like Charles Barkley says some shit, it hurts versus like Skip Bayless. So that's why I think no matter what you say, it's going to land different. That's the thing.
So, and
Rosenberg was a white hip hop fan. I think that hurts him when somebody like Pete Rock or you said something. It don't know.
Right. Well, but at the same time, we are the standard bearers. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we got to say something. You know why? Because people like him will cross the line and feel like they've been in the game long enough, or you know, where their voice really matters. You understand what I'm saying? like as if his voice could ever be more substantial than mine. And I don't give a fuck how many radio shows you end up doing, how much money you make.
That's what he would say, though. He always brings that up. Like, I played real hip hop records at night. You don't respect that, Lord Jamar?
No. I mean, in a way I do, but at the same time, so what? That doesn't give you the right now when we start debating on whatever in hip hop, you know, whether this should be here and this, you now shut your mouth. You don't have any say so in what goes where in the house, where we hang this fucking picture, if that couch gets moved over. Shh. Again, you're just a guest here. You have no say so in the decor.
Got it. My last thing I want to ask you about is you got a lot of backlash for going back to Vlad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like fans were accurate? Do you feel like, because you said my man earlier when talking about Vlad, so I'm like, it seems like y'all cool again. And I noticed you haven't been back, but I don't know if that's just a logistical issue or what's going on.
Listen, man, you know, before the whole shit happened with Farrakhan and all that type of shit, like, me and Vlad was cool for real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we would talk on the phone other than Vlad TV business. You know what I mean? Like, this motherfucker would be calling me for advice for certain shit. And, you know what I mean? We just was cool. Like, you know what I mean? He'd come to New York. We'd hang out at times. And he was all right. And a lot of people would talk shit about him. And I'd be like, nah, man. You know what I mean? Maybe with you, but he's cool with me type of shit. When when the shit happened with Farrakhan and all of that type of shit, and he didn't apologize and all of that immediately, it was like, it was fucked up. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, bro, you really, you know what I mean? You put me in a fucking bad fucking situation here. But at the end of the day, I have standards. And even if you my man and all of that type of shit, you're not my man like that to where I'm going to stand with you against, you know what I mean? My community type of shit. And so we did that, thinking that it would really spark more of a revolution, okay, amongst other people to say, we not going up there. Nope.
We going up there.
Motherfuckers kept going up there. Matter of fact, it was around this time when Vlad realized, you know what? I just lost two of my biggest dudes. Maybe I should start paying people right now. And I think that's when that model started to switch. Because I think, me and Godfrey, our departure did have some sort of weight on the platform.
Yeah, like nobody now is saying like Boosie and Aries not being there is gonna really hurt Vlad. At the time, there was a thought that y'all leaving Vlad would hurt him.
Right.
Didn't happen, but there was a thought. That's how impactful y'all were.
Exactly. So the fact that, okay, we did our boycott and it wasn't received with what we thought it would be received with. You see what I'm saying? You would think that, oh, you're not fucking with Vlad? Well, we left Vlad. Well, all these people now should come to my channel, right? They should come to Godfrey's channel. I should have had a plus, 1 million subscribers or some shit like that. Didn't happen. So now, 5 years had passed. People now getting paid at fucking Vlad. And people still going up there. Motherfuckers are still watching the videos and all of this type of shit. But y'all wanted me to keep the boycott up. But y'all wanted me to keep it up. So then when he finally goes on Willie D and gives his apology, at first I was like, man, this shit is a day late, $1 short. Fuck that. You know what I mean? That was a bullshit apology. Da-da-da-da-da. But then certain shit happens in life, man. You know what I mean? That sometimes you can't put your finger, you know what I mean? Like, why some shit will trigger you or whatever, right?
That was before the pandemic, right? That y'all went on strike, right? Or was it after?
I think it was before.
So that's a life moment.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of shit that happened, right? But then, so this is, again, it's 5 years later. He apologizes. And then right after he apologized, and it's still, my dog died, right? And I remember when I had got that dog, right?
I saw a cute dog.
And I brought him up to Vlad. He was a little puppy.
Cute dog.
And he ended up being like 100-something pounds, bro. Yeah. Fucking bully pit. So.
Gray, I remember.
Yeah, right. So when he passed, I'm still fucked up right now. It's hard for me to even talk about this guy.
No, that was
tough.
But
when he passed, your phone be like showing you like past pictures and all this type of shit. So I seen a picture and we had fucking Vlad and shit. You know what I mean? That shit ain't never happened to me before.
No, I mean I have a dog too, and I'm like, man, when she goes, I'm gonna be fucked up. And I try to plan for it, but I know it's not gonna work because dogs don't live forever, but they just with you in the moments that nobody else can be. So I'm not even like, I know some people might look at it like crazy, but nah, I totally get where you're coming from. Yeah.
So I see the picture, of me and Vlad and the dog. And then it just, you know what I mean? It just makes me think, like, damn, it just had got me thinking about the nigga Vlad and how long I've known him for. And, you know what I mean? And I was in an emotional place. And yeah, so I seen that. And then he had did an interview or some shit like that with Oskino, I think.
Shout out to O. Yeah.
And for the first time, he mentioned me or some shit in the interview. Like through this whole 5 years, he never said my name. Like he would talk about other people. He never said my name the whole time. And so my man sent me the interview, and he was like, yo, I think that's a sign. He said, yo, I think you should reach out to Vlad, man. Like, he ain't never said nothing about you before. I think he wants to, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? Like,
ego, right?
And so now that had me like, so now I went and I looked at like some of the last conversations I had with the nigga Vlad. You know what I mean? Because I was also mad, like, yo, bro, if you my man, why the fuck you putting me in this position? Like I'm telling you need to apologize. And even, you know what I mean? If you don't understand, if you my man, you still should fucking apologize type of shit. Because you putting everybody in a bad position with this. And so I look back at the text. And as I'm reading it, at one point, he says something to the effect like, yo, I realized this put you in a bad position. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sorry, blah, 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 but whatever the fuck he said. And I forgot that he even said that. And so, when you read in text, and then I kind of just inadvertently like, you know what, that's good. And I liked it. Like, you know what I mean? Because almost out of force of habit, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, well, that's cool right there. And I clicked the like shit or whatever. And then immediately after I did that, he hit me back like,
What's up?
Like, what's this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you trying to say, And I just said something like, yo, I don't know. I didn't remember you saying this or some shit like that. And then, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
One thing led to another, and then we hopped on the phone type of shit. So that's how it went down. Yeah, in an emotional time in my life, and yes, the pandemic played a part, all of that type of shit. But really just reminiscing about life and just people, you know what I mean? In your life, who's cool, who's not cool, and you know what I mean? Just reassessing certain shit. And then I was like, well, I mean, the motherfucker did say, you know what I mean? And I started to be like, he did say sorry. It might not have been the best. It was like, he did fucking say sorry.
Fire.
And so then, whatever, I guess he saw his opening. And now he's like, well, I'm paying now, Do you want to come back on?
Why not?
Fuck it, Vlad. Come on. I know they're going to hate me for it and all of that type of shit.
Sold out.
Huh?
They're going to say you sold out. That's
right.
what I saw in the comments.
And I'm like, sold out to what? Because when you sell out, right, usually it's so that you shut up or you don't say something or you say something that they want you to say. You see what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I got what I wanted. Like he did. he did apologize to Farrakhan. You see what I'm saying? Like, so now what else do you want me to do? Like, should I still continue to boycott just on principle, even though y'all wasn't with me and all this type of shit? Should I, you know what I mean? Should I not get that free bread? Like, basically,
talking.
To not just talk though, to build. Because the difference between me and a Boosie, you see what I'm saying? We both can be very entertaining when we talk. But
message.
When I talk, yes, you're going to get some sort of message. I might tickle some sort of intellectual itch that you had in your brain that, you know, Boosie's just not even going there at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if you look at, you know, even if you look at a Godfrey and an Aries Spears, like Godfrey would hit you with some like Black consciousness type of comedy, and he would be funny, but then he would get serious too on some, you know,
real shit.
On some real shit. Whereas Aries, you know, he did skits kissing men and fucking shit with little boys and crazy, you know. There's nothing positive in the mix.
Last question, and I mean it. Mm-hmm. You seem to be talking about Godfrey in a nice light. I feel like I saw a recent interview with Vlad, and you seem like you had some energy towards him.
I do have energy towards him,
but you still respect him. That's what I get.
Well, yeah.
What you just said was very...
Because there's certain things, you see, like I said earlier, like Cooks, he showed me to be a less than moral person. You see what I'm saying? He showed me that he's not loyal. But I still can't take away from the fact that he's super dope. See what I'm saying? That he could rap his ass off. I like he comes up with great hooks. You know what I mean? He's just a dope rapper. But he's not a good person. Like, you know what I mean? So I can admit that Godfrey is a funny comedian. You know what I mean? He was a great asset at Vlad TV. He was a great asset when he was, you know, on my show and all that type of shit. But he really sold out as far as trying to use a friendship, like manipulate a friendship in order to think he's going to get views out of some shit or whatever the case may be.
You're talking about the Professor Dave shit.
Yes. So at the end of the day, I know what the value that Godfrey brought to Vlad TV, and I can't deny that just because I might have a problem with him. See what I'm saying? I'm not one of those type of niggas. That's how you know I'm a real nigga. Because even if I have a fucking problem with you, I will still tell the truth.
But didn't Dave leak that shit? Because I don't think Godfrey was going to put that out.
Bro, yeah, he was. It was already...
Okay.
It was already... He had something in cahoots that unbeknownst to me, that he didn't tell me about prior to that. He already had an agreement with the guy. You see what I'm saying? Had I known that... First of all, I didn't want to do it in the first place. But he kept begging me for some reason. You see what I'm saying?
How many like conversations were had? Was it like, yo, do it? Like,
I could show you multiple texts like, yo, you gonna come through? Like, yo, come on. And I don't even answer the nigga, where I'm just like, yo, bro. No. You know what I mean? And then finally, you know, he hits me and it's just like if me and you were cool and I used that to like get you to come somewhere, you didn't really want to do it, and I kind of used our relationship only to find out this is some sort of like ambush that you tried to set up or whatever the case may be. That everybody else was prepared, like with materials and all this type of shit and knowing where it's going and all this type of shit. and you just kind of like, you know what I mean?
You feel ambushed.
Definitely.
Do you feel like you were ambushed just because Godfrey and him were working behind the scenes, or because professors are well researched and they can make arguments?
He's not a real professor, first of all.
Oh, I gotta research that.
Yeah, his name. I have a clip where he says he's not a professor.
Let me see. I gotta look him up.
He's not a professor.
Professor Dave.
That's just what they call him.
That's like his like.
That's just his moniker on what he does is he calls himself a science explainer or something like that, a science interpreter, and so he takes what people what he says scientists tell him, and then he
analogizes.
Yeah.
So he's not a university professor, does not hold a PhD. He is a science communicator.
There you go, a science communicator. That's what he calls it.
YouTuber.
Anybody can be a science communicator.
No, but I mean not to. Okay, so that I understand what you're saying. He's not a professor. Science communicators are needed though, because they relate science to, I guess, regular people. But I guess I know what you're saying. He's not a professor. Got it. Okay.
Right.
Is that what you're looking at right now?
Yeah. Well, I was looking for the video of him actually saying that he's not a professor.
Okay. Maybe. I mean, it sucks because I thought the optics of y'all leaving Vlad and then like ending on some other shit that's similar. I'm like, it just, I saw that. I think you said Godfrey's not honorable or something like that in the Vlad interview. And then he came back at you, Godfrey did, and it was wild to see both of y'all, because Godfrey did, he took his shots. He said crazy shit back at you. And it looked like he was trying to keep it like nice and PG, as Drake would say. But it ultimately ended with both of y'all just really bad-mouthing each other. And it's like, damn. It's just, I guess, in content, things can go diabolical because there's an audience. So like me and you could get into an argument off camera. And it's like, we'll make a piece of. But then there's an audience. Right. If it happens here and for whatever, you make me seem like a stupid motherfucker who don't know shit. I might, even if you apologize, I might have issues because you just made me look stupid to my audience.
Right.
And I think that's what happened. I think that's that you felt. I'm not saying you look stupid or anything like that. It's just sometimes you can get ambushed. Sometimes people know how to win an argument on camera. And to be honest, flat Earth, I don't believe in flat Earth theory. I'm gonna be honest with that. I'm gonna say that right now.
You don't have to.
Yeah, and I don't, exactly. You're not gonna pressure me. You're not gonna like talk to me outside and be like, Danny, you better believe in flat Earth theory, right? So, but you felt as if it was a content ambush. It had been months in advance or something like that. It had been planned for a while.
But I'm gonna say that he wasn't the one that planned it. It was his man, Dante.
The bald dude?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
But I feel like
that's your man.
He allowed himself to be manipulated. You see what I'm saying? By the bald dude. And ultimately,
that broke the internet though.
But at the end of the day, what did you really gain from it? Like, how much is Godfrey the number one influencer now because of that episode?
He's popular somewhat. Now, he's not. I think we're so fragmented that it's hard to be the number one anything now. But you still have an audience that makes a lot of money. I think that's what he has.
See, what I'm saying is, I feel like a lot of people feel like if they try to take somebody else down, that it's going to bring them up. And ultimately, that's not even what happens. Like, you could try to take me down. First of all, most of us live an edited life, right? So that was one time where you were able to see me flawed. You were able to see me not cool, calm, and collected like I usually am. You were able to see me off kilter, off my game, right? But in the society that we live in today, usually you're able to just go on your phone and edit that out.
Okay.
You take 1,000 selfies until you find the right one that you're going to post. You see?
Filter.
To where that was life unfiltered. You see? And we don't usually see that on the internet. That's what made it ill. You see what I'm saying? And that's why immediately I'm like, yo, don't put that up. You know what I mean? And now I was trying to test and see, are you really about views and all of this type of shit? Like, because after that whole thing happened, he didn't want me to leave. He wanted to talk about Fat Joe because I had some, I was viral with Fat Joe at that moment. Like, so it was all about trying to like absorb my viralness and somehow see if it was going to transfer into him. And what I'm saying,
absorb your viralness.
Yeah, and like, what I'm saying, yeah, like by osmosis, like you get some of that Lord J because every other week they're talking about
like
him.
Highlander. But
at the end of the day, if you don't have that certain something, it don't matter. Like I had a slew of people come at me after that thinking, oh, this is the time now. We're going to get them. I had fucking fucks that were, you know what I mean? Where I told them what my price was. Oh, okay. I'm going to get that money up. I'll be back to you. And once that shit, I bet your price is going down now, and think they're going to, talk shit to me. Oh, yeah.
You owe me more now.
So, and what I'm saying is none of these motherfuckers became the new Lord Jamar. You see what I'm saying? Because there's only one me. You're not going to be able to answer shit the way I answer it or have the same outlook or the same
Your
type
experiences. You have different experiences.
Or even the same charisma.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. Like, just you don't have it. So
it's funny because
do you?
I'm doing research on Professor Dave, and I'm looking up at like another scientist wrote about him, and it's like he's not a real professor. And it's like now I'm looking at it, and it's like, damn, that is interesting. I just when somebody calls himself professor, you just assume they're a professor. And he does have STEM degrees. He's just not a professor. And he probably pivoted, probably makes way more money now as a content creator. But he's more of a content creator that has
exactly.
Yeah, got it.
And here's the thing. I can manipulate a conversation. Like, I thought that if we were going to debate some shit, we were going to debate the concept of flat earth, not like the meaning of scientific terms. And that's what you call trig knowledge. Mm-hmm. So like the average person, like for instance, this was a question that was asked to me. Like if I was to ask you, what is the definition of weight? Do you think the average person has the scientific definition of what weight is?
Not in their mind. You could try to approximate what you think it is, but it might sound stupid.
Right. So that's what I'm calling trig. Now, so if I'm having a conversation about something, and now I move the goalpost and say, first of all, what's the definition of weight? And I don't know. Oh, so you don't even know what weight is. So how can you argue?
Stupid.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it was some bullshit like that. Here's another thing. We've watched movies where maybe they're on a spaceship, right? And then a hole busts out in the spaceship, right? What happens if a hole gets punctured in the spaceship in the movie?
Everybody gets sucked out.
Everybody gets sucked out. Why? Because the so-called vacuum of space, right? And in your mind, right, when you hear the word vacuum, right, you think of something that sucks.
Yeah.
Well, no, apparently in science, vacuum has a different definition. You see, this is trick knowledge, bro. Okay. And that's the type of shit that was trying to be used against me. So when I talk about the vacuum of space against the open, container of the open so-called pressurized air that we live in, and anything that's pressurized has to have a container. But anyway, when I talk about that, are you thinking that a vacuum is something that sucks? And then, well, yeah, doesn't everybody think that a vacuum is something that sucks. And now when you look up what they're telling you a vacuum is, they're saying that it's different. So again, this is shit that you got to take other people's word for, who claim to be smarter than you. It's all games, sir. So when people say to me, "Do you still believe in flat?" Of course, nothing was nothing was even debated in that night. Like, we didn't even get down to anything really. Yeah, I was just off, and yes, all water must find its level. All water must have a container. Prove me wrong.
I saw a video of you saying you didn't believe. There's not a got you. There's not a got you. If you want, I'll edit this out.
A video that I what?
A video, like I said, if you want, I'll edit this part out. But if I saw a video where you said you believed in like round Earth theory. Yeah.
What?
I'll go look it up. I saw it. it was like you were on Vlad.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Because before I ever studied flat Earth, I thought it was the most ridiculous fucking concept. I was on Vlad. I said, I can't even believe that we're even debating this. Like I thought it was the stupidest fucking thing in the world until I actually started studying it. See, that's the difference between people who say they're into flat Earth and people who are not into it. People who are into flat Earth have actually done some studying. People who are not into it are only going by what they learned in 3rd grade and are assuming that all of that shit is right and have never really looked back at a lot of the information they were given to re-examine it for themselves now that they're older, with a different light on it. And just like everybody else, once I started to go into it, I started to realize how much that I didn't really know about the globe that they say we lived on, and a lot of the holes in that theory. But that's a whole different discussion, and flat power.
Okay. All right, man. Lord Jamar, man, I really enjoyed this. I really had a good time.
I did too, Dan.
Yeah. I was concerned that you would be like, nah, I'm not answering none of this. Like a lot of these questions, you were open about everything. I'm very happy to have interviewed you. I know sometimes you're divisive with some of your takes, but I never, like in this room in this moment, I've been. I hope this doesn't offend you, but you've been really nice to me, both at the debate we did. Right now, I was expecting like but you've been a really cool dude.
What's divisive though? Like really, what do I say that's divisive? Like, how am I divisive?
Well, first of all, you have a very strong voice, right? And let's say somebody soft-spoken like me, we go arguing in a debate.
Right, and my shit is just stronger.
You might look like you cooked the shit out of me. Danny looks like a bitch, and that's how I might look. So I might hold resentment. Then some of the takes you have are very, very flat Earth theory. Some of your new school hip hop takes, you've angered a lot of fan bases that are huge. Drake, Eminem, and also when you're on the internet giving your opinion, it's like, I don't want your opinion. But the way the internet works, people say they don't want your opinion, but they want your opinion, right? So it's like outrage. Like people want to be outraged, they just don't know it. So those are the things that are divisive. And even the ICE, right? You said, don't be coming here.
If you illegal. But that's who they going for. The people that are here illegally. Like I can't go to another country and be there illegally. Or they're gonna kick me out. Their version of ICE is gonna kick me out. What's the fucking problem?
But nobody in your country, nobody in your lineage ever came here illegally?
No.
Nobody
people in my lineage, I have the document from my great-great-grandfather who came through Ellis Island from Guyana.
Anybody in your family date someone or marry someone?
Illegally?
Yeah, like maybe they married somebody who's from Colombia or Mexico or Haiti or no.
No.
Okay.
We no. Okay. Why the fuck do we do that?
You said Puerto Rican, so I know that's
American. Puerto Rico is part of America.
I know that's America, but it was also like annexed.
What I'm saying is, they're American, right? If my sister-in-law was illegal, you know.
But it's like Mexico, right? That was part of, some parts of America was Mexico was annexed,
right?
So
but it's
like,
not. But what do we say? But
these
New
are
Mexico is not part of Mexico anymore, right? So regardless, if you say what used to be and all that type of shit, we're going by what it is right now.
Okay.
And people talk about stolen land. Yeah, listen.
Native Americans did.
First of all, and that's what I'm saying.
We're
the real Native Americans.
Oh, we're breaking
first
it down.
of all. And that could be divisive too. But it's true. See, here's the thing. I'm not divisive for divisive sake. They have people on the internet that will be divisive just because they know that's going to get them views. I never do shit for views, bro. Just know that about me. Like, I'm not here because I think I'm going to say some shit that's going to get a bunch of views. If it gets views, fine. I just be here to tell the truth as I see it. You see what I'm saying? So it's not
malicious.
It's not malicious or it's not calculating. See, y'all motherfuckers calculating that you think what everybody else is doing is calculating. You see what I'm saying? I don't move calculated like that to where I'm trying to figure all this shit out how I could blow up on the internet. I know that just, you know what I mean? Just speak. And we live in a time where shit, being truthful is divisive. Being truthful is divisive because people don't necessarily want to hear truth. They want to hear lies. A man who thinks he's a woman wants me to say that he's a woman. An ugly broad wants me to say, you look beautiful today.
Okay.
A fat motherfucker want me to say he's skinny.
I identify as skinny, man.
A skinny motherfucker want me to say he's muscular. Like, everybody wants not the true version, not the reality. So being real in this era makes you divisive. When all you're doing is telling the truth.
There you have it. Lord Jamar, pleasure. Anything you got going on? Anything coming?
I mean, right now we celebrating the 35th anniversary of the Brand Nubian, One for All album. We getting ready to, start doing some shows and all of that.
5 mics, right?
Huh?
5 mics.
5 mics, one of the first early 5 mic albums in the Source when 5 mics actually mattered, when you couldn't buy 5 mics, when the Source had standards. This whole episode might be called Standards.
The podcast.
But yeah, so we just celebrating, man, 35 years, and a lot of people, if you were 35 years as a scientist or 35 years as anything, you're looked at as a crazy, veteran in your field type of shit, and if you're able to last that long, seen a lot of people come and go, man, and I'm just grateful and honored and humbled to be in that class of rappers whom people consider, look at my hat, to be hip-hop legends, goddammit.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you, Lord Jamar. You're certainly a legend to me for what you did in hip-hop, and I know people try to go back and say you're some corny rapper or something that didn't, and I'm like, nah, you rapped really well, and there's no need to try to hate because of what
and I still rap well.
Yeah.
I got some shit I could be dropping soon.
I didn't even know you make music. I thought, not that that's not a shot, but you don't When's your new shit coming?
Well, see, that's the thing. When you're independent, you can put your shit out whenever the you want to. So I promise y'all, I told y'all I had some shit coming, but then I just,
Be careful, man. You gotta be hot. You gotta be hot. Because if you drop something,
Oh, yeah. I know. But trust me, I know. I can't put out no bullshit. Like, yes, it's got to be hot.
Yeah.
So trust me, my fans have been asking, when's it coming? When's it? It's coming. It's coming very soon. That's all I can say. But I don't have an exact date. But soon. This year, definitely.
All right. Thanks, Lord Jamar.
Thank you.